we have reached at this equation I delta t is simply E square A by m tau n delta t mod of E electric field. Now we have seen that J is equal to I by A. So we know this current density I by A. So I is equal to simply JA. So here again we have taken mod, putting this thing into this. So let us put this here. So I is equal to JA. So JA and this delta T. So in this equation, when we put here delta T cancels out, A also cancels out. So what is remaining? J mod of J is equal to N E square upon M tau E. N E square upon M tau E. So this is remaining current density. J is current density. Current density is simply N E square upon M tau E, where J is parallel to E. That we have already seen. If this is the direction of electric field, J is also in the same direction. Why we took here a negative? Because we are concerned about the flow of electrons, and electron flows opposite to the electric field. So charge on electron is negative minus E, and it flows opposite to the electric field. So double minus, it becomes a plus. But direction of J and E are same. Direction of both of them are same. Current also flows in the same direction as the electric field. Now what is there? So J is equal to N E square by M tau E. J is equal to, since both are in same direction, they have removed the mod. J is equal to N E square by M tau E. In this book there are some mistakes. They have shown these numbers also in capital, but these are not capital. N is also a number, E is also a number, M is also a number, tau is a number. These are not vector quantities. Only vector quantities are J and E. So a good way to write them: J is equal to N E square tau by M into vector E. So this is a correct way to write. There are some mistakes in this book. So these are not vector quantities. Now let us see how the Ohm's law comes from this. So this is J is equal to, previously we have seen this J is equal to sigma E. This was the form of Ohm's law. This was the form of Ohm's law that we obtained. Initially we obtained Ohm's law, V is proportional to I, or V is equal to IR. That was the initial form of Ohm's law. But later we proved that this J is equal to sigma E, where sigma is the conductivity, is also Ohm's law. So here you can see a similar form is there. J is equal to something into E. If we take this whole thing into constant, so what is sigma here? Let us call this whole thing as sigma. So on comparison, what is sigma? Sigma is equal to N E square tau by M. This whole thing is sigma, or conductivity of the material. So this is also Ohm's law, and this generally comes in your final exam to prove from the electron drift velocity, prove the Ohm's law. So this is very important for the exam purpose, that prove Ohm's law using the drift concept of the electrons. So here we have taken sigma is equal to Ne squared tau by M, that becomes sigma, and this becomes J is equal to sigma E, which is also Ohm's law. We thus see a very simple picture of electrical conduction reproduces the Ohm's law. So Ohm's law is nothing but a fundamental. We have of course made assumption that tau and n are constant. So here we are considering that tau and n are constant, and n is also a constant. The number of electrons per unit volume is a constant for any material. Once you have taken the material, let us say copper, so this number is constant. Now tau can be differed. Tau is sometimes differed. Tau is dependent on this E. So we will see later how this tau is dependent on E. So, but for the time being, let us consider this n is definitely a constant. This E is also a constant. Mass of electron is also a constant. For the time being, let this tau to be constant. But this tau can be vary, or this tau can change with the electric field. Now let us see this new example. The example 3.1, estimate the average drift speed of conduction electrons. So we have to estimate Vd of conduction electrons. What are conduction electrons? First thing is what are conduction electrons? So those electrons that are free to move, free electrons, those are called conduction electrons, because only they part in conducting the electricity. So there are several concepts associated with this. One is conduction electrons. Conduction electrons are those electrons which are free to move. For copper, let us say this, generally they will ask for copper. For copper, this is the positively charged nucleus. This is first orbital, this is second orbital, this is third, and this one is fourth. So as you know, this nucleus is positively charged and electrons are negatively charged. So there is some attraction on electrons because of this positively charged nucleus. So electrons are bound with nucleus. Why? Because electrons are negative and nucleus is positively charged. So electrons are bound with the nucleus because of this positive and negative charge, attraction due to positive and negative charge. Similarly, electrons will be here in third shell and fourth shell as well. Now what happens, as we move from orbital to orbital, the distance is increasing. That means the attraction is also decreasing. Attraction of this nucleus on these electrons is decreasing. Further, there is screening effect, a new effect. Let me tell you what is screening. Screening effect. Screening. What is this screening effect? Screening, though there is positive charge, but this first layer of electron is negative, second layer of electron is negative, third layer of electron is also negative. So even though at the center there is a positive charge, but due to this negative charge, the force on this is screened. That is almost negligible. That becomes negligible because of the screen of this negative charges. So there is positive charge on the nucleus, but there is one screen of negative charge, second screen of negative charge, third screen of negative charge, and this is almost there. This electron almost becomes free because of the screening in metals. So in copper, this 4s1 electron, 4s1, that we will see later, that what is this 4s1? This 4s1 electron, or the last electron of this fourth orbital, becomes free, which is called conduction electron, that take part in the conduction. Now let us complete the reading the example. So there is a copper wire, cross sectional area A is equal to 1 into 10 to power minus 7 meter square. So they have already given in meter. Carrying current I is equal to 1.5 ampere. Assume that copper atom contributes roughly 1 conduction electron. So again they are saying the same. Each copper atom is giving only 1 electron, which is the 4s1 or last electron. So each copper atom is giving 1 electron. The density of copper is this. So this is the density of copper metal, normal mass density, 9 into 10 to power 3 kilogram per meter cube, and atomic mass is 63.5 U. Now what we have to do? So first we have to calculate the drift velocity with these numbers. Compare the drift velocity obtained above with the thermal speeds. Remember, we have calculated the thermal speeds for gas atom, which was about 500 meter per second to 1500 meter per second. So that kind of speed we have to calculate for electrons. So thermal speeds of copper atoms at ordinary temperature. So we have to calculate the thermal speed for copper atoms, speed of propagation of electric field along the conductor with which causes the drift motion. So we have to compare this Vd. First we have to calculate Vd, then we have to compare this with the thermal speed of copper atoms, and at last we have to compare with the speed of the electric field. If we applied this electric field, what is the speed of this electric field, and we have to compare this Vd with that.